up on that board for Minnesota. So kicking us off here with a 10-1 jam. Early days, early moments of game number 1. And very quickly, Brisas is out first, does pick up lead. Sandrine wearing that star for Baja, pushing forward, got a couple to beat as the pack starts to get spread out. Vela Morena, Guy, and a couple blockers to be named later, slowing down Brisas' progress, allowing Sandrine to get around quickly, putting that pressure on, and 2 points scored by Minnesota in that jam. Nice job by those Baja blockers to lock it down after the initial pass happening so quickly, reforming, making some magic happen out on the track. Monsoon Manus and Arizona Roller Derby would like to thank 888-187 for making roller derby more accessible by sponsoring skaters and teams around the world. Thank you to our sponsors, 187 and 888. Spicy Icy with the star for Baja is out of the pack. Designated lead as Boo Boo picking up a forearm call. This is a power jam. Power jam. Jam de poder. Power jam opportunity here in jam number 3 for Baja. 4 points already picked up on this jam. Spicy Icy going to the outside, looking to pick up some points. Able to get 2 before the call off. Freezing Boo Boo in the Night Owl penalty box. Come for pizza, stay for the fun. Night Owl Pizza and Drinks. Kick back on our spacious patio while the weather's prime. Open daily at 11 a.m. Rolling till midnight on weekends and 1 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays. Check out Night Owl. Whistle blows, action begins. That's Su Madre with the star for Baja. Boo Boo again starting in that Night Owl penalty box. Everybody at the Arizona Goat Yoga pivot line. Su Madre almost out of the pack, but gets bumped to the inside. That blocker picking up a forearm call as Boo Boo comes on the track, takes a whip off a teammate's jersey, and is out. So lead going to Minnesota. Su Madre is now out of the pack. So coming back around, looking to make that scoring pass, and it is called off by Boo Boo. So 4 points going up for Minnesota. Score 16-7. Still a lot of derby left. Razor Cake is the only 501c3 music magazine in the United States. Nonprofit punk rock. We do our part. And the Razor Cake Jam line is where the action begins here in jam number 5. Ginger Snap wearing the star for Minnesota. Que Monita for Baja. Ginger Snap pushing forward, trying to bust open that seam between the Baja blockers. And a penalty is called, so space opens, and Ginger Snap is out. Que Monita getting recycled back to the Razor Cake Jam line, now at the Arizona Goat Yoga pivot line. Ginger Snap able to power through on the outside lane. Disco Mel for Baja going in to offer some offense before Ginger Snap comes back around. Baja blockers taking up that outside lane. Ari with some nice blocking there, able to tap Ginger Snap to the outside, creating a recycle. Just under a minute left here in the jam, and we have had a successful star pass. So now jamming for Baja is Karoli Quinn. And Karoli able to sneak in 1 point right at the end before the call off. 2 more points going on that last scoring pass for Ginger Snap and Minnesota. There they are. So a 10-point jam for Minnesota, 1 for Baja. Fanny Smack with the star for Minnesota, Sandrine for Baja. Both teams jammers moving very quickly, but it's Fanny Smack who comes out first, does get lead for Minnesota. Sandrine now out of the pack, so pressure on as she comes around very quickly. And Fanny Pack looking to pick up some points and call it off, able to get 3 before that 4th whistle blows, taking their score to 29 after 6 jams. And we have an official timeout. Crash Course helps roller derby athletes build strength, track confidence, and winning habits to become MVPs on and off the track. Want to make 2-minute jams feel easy? Well, visit ChristyCrash.com for a 1-month trial of the Roller Derby Training Club Fitness app. It's just $1. Life is a contact sport. Win. Breezes with that star for Minnesota, Spicy Icy for Baja. And Breezes pushing towards the front, knocked to the outside by Karoli Quinn. And Ari picking up a penalty for Baja, going to the Night Owl penalty box. Only the 2nd penalty there for Baja, as Breezes is out first. And Spicy Icy able to draw everyone to the outside, opening up a massive lane. Some nice offense there from the blockers, keeping that lane open as she is out of the pack and adding points. Just kidding. It was called off, so no points added there for Spicy Icy. But putting on pressure, that would have been a better way to put it. Minnesota picking up 3 points on that jam. Whistle blows. Boo Boo with the star for Minnesota, Su Madre for Baja. And Boo Boo out of the pack. Su Madre getting knocked to the inside. Oh, pardon me. Not out of the pack, but also right straight into that Night Owl penalty box. Ooh. Su Madre attempting a star pass. Helmet cover is dropped on the track as she is knocked to the outside, so has to recycle and still needs to get that helmet cover. So Pivot picks it up, hands it back, and now Su Madre with the helmet cover able to complete a legal pass. And there is a new jammer for Baja. That's Oogie Boogie. An excellent penalty kill by Minnesota with Boo Boo now on the track. Pack moving very quickly back at that Razor Cake jam line. Now to the Arizona Yoga pivot line. Pack gets spread out. So Guy, the final blocker, must allow Boo Boo to pass. And a penalty going to Oogie Boogie. This is a power jam. Power jam. Jam de poder. Brought to you by RollerDerbyCoaching.com. Be more badass on the track. Online roller derby clinics to get you to your next level. Brought to you by Snot Rocket Science. Check it out at RollerDerbyCoaching.com. Whistles blowing, so a few penalties right at the end of jam number 8. Oh, and it's Boo Boo going to that penalty box. A little bit of confusion from Boo Boo on what quite happened. So Minnesota with a blocker, their pivot and their jammer in the penalty box to start this next jam. Power start for Sandrine, who is very quickly out of the pack, skating up that inside lane. Now looking to get through the blockers to pick up some points, asking for some offense from her team, and they are there. Sandrine backwards skating, flipping around, all the fancy moves, and is through for 4. Sandrine now back at the pack. Boo Boo also now on the track, has flown the nest from the Night Owl penalty box. Has successfully completed a star pass. Marty is now jammer as Sandrine going to the penalty box. That means we have a power jam. Power jam. Jam de poder for Minnesota. This will be a 2-minute jam, and Sandrine got to the penalty box with more than 30 seconds left on that clock, so should be back on the track before the end of this jam. Woo, this jam has been a wild one. All the whistles, all the action, all the fun. Sandrine back on the track as Marty McFly, who is now jamming for Minnesota, is through for 4. Sandrine also adding 4 more. Time ends on the penalty clock, and we have a 12-12 jam. Roll into another form of entertainment with Arizona Goat Yoga. It's the ultimate blend of stretching, laughter, and adorable goats jumping all around you. Find out more at goatyoga.com. Estamos en jam número 10. Ginger Snap tiene la estrella para Minnesota. Qué bonita para Baja. Ginger Snap ha salido del pack y tiene lead. Se fue para adentro, está parado por Oogie Boogie, pero ya se fue, tiene 4 puntos. También ha salido del pack. Qué bonito. Hay un asalto de Apex y se cayó, se terminó el jam y igualmente ganó todos los puntos en ese último paso. 4 puntos en el aire para Minnesota, 8 en total para jam número 10. Jam número 11, Fanny Smack tiene la estrella para Minnesota, Spicy Icy para Baja. Y Fanny Smack está en el frente ahora contra Ari y Wincabrona. Ahora ha salido, tiene lead. Spicy Icy se pasó la estrella a Guy. Guy también está fuera del pack. Y intentando de regresar. 4 puntos para Minnesota y ahora 4 para Guy y Baja. Fanny Smack en otro paso para puntos. Estaba empujado para adentro, se regresó a la pista y ya se va. Baja tiene 2 blockers en la caja de Night Owl y Minnesota está dejando a una persona allí en el Night Owl caja de penales. 8-6 para los puntos en Jam número 11. Ahora estamos en 70 para Minnesota, 26 para Baja y están pidiendo un repaso oficial para Minnesota. Official review being requested by Minnesota. Born in Boulder, Colorado in 2010, Keef Brands is a leader in the cannabis beverage space with a suite of products that offer a new generation of consumers an alternative to alcohol and an innovative way to celebrate, have fun, and enjoy life. Check them out, Keef Brands. If you love roller skating, you know that magic happens when roller derby, park, and roller skaters of all disciplines get together. Join us at RollerCon 2026. It's July 8th through 12 at the Expo Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are also raffling a RollerCon MVP pass for just $5. You can purchase those at the merch table. So check that out. Also check out the other raffle items we have available at the merch table. Must be present to win. Get all the details at merch. All right, we are back at it. The official review was officially reviewed, and while we have no details at this time, I can tell you that the officials disagreed with whatever the request was from Minnesota, and they did not retain their official review. Skatey Gaga, sorry. Skatey Gaga with the star for Minnesota. Su madre for Baja. Skatey Gaga getting out first. Picking up lead, a very quick jam as Su Madre also got out of the pack. So 4 points for Minnesota. Jam ends. Ya hemos empezado jam número 13. Breezes con la estrella para Minnesota y contra Vela Morena. El pack era más grande, entonces Vela Morena tenía que parar para que se pueda pasar Breezes. Entonces Breezes tiene lead y también 4 puntos. Baja ha pasado la estrella a su pivot Oogie Boogie. Oogie Boogie ahora está jammer. Cuatro puntos más para Breezes. Oogie Boogie intentando de salir del pack. Pero allí están los blockers de Minnesota. Una saltita. Una saltita de Breezes, pero a la misma vez se recibió un penal del brazo. Entonces se va a Night Owl Penalty Box y ahora tenemos un Power Jam. Power Jam. Jam de poder. Brought to you by RollerDerbyCoaching.com. Be more badass on the track. Check it out. RollerDerbyCoaching.com. Oogie Boogie sigue intentando de salir del pack, pero ha estado parado por los blockers de Minnesota. Y Minnesota ha quemado todo el tiempo de ese penal y en su momento ha regresado Breezes a la pista. Unos momentos se quedan en Jam 13. Ya se terminó. $11 puntos en el Jam para Minnesota y 4 para Baja. 10 minutos se quedan en la primera mitad del juego. Ginger Snap with the star for Minnesota. Sandrine for Baja. Sandrine getting out first and picking up lead for Baja. Through very quickly for 4 with 2 Minnesota blockers in the Night Owl penalty box. A nice 8-point jam there for Baja. 4 points also picked up by Minnesota. Score 89-38. Under 10 minutes left here in the first half. Whistle blows, and it's Fanny Smack quien tiene la estrella para Minnesota. Spicy Icy para Baja. Fanny Smack contra Vela Morena y Guy. Fanny Smack ha salido del pack, tiene lead. Y Spicy Icy se pasó la estrella a Oogie Boogie, pero en el momento que se recibió la estrella era empujado para adentro, tenía que reciclar y empezar de nuevo. Y ahora se fue para afuera y Oogie Boogie ha salido del pack, regresando para buscar puntos, pero antes que se pueda hacerlo, se termina el jam por lado de Minnesota, quien se ganó 8 puntos en jam número 15. Derby Date Night. Good derby, bad jokes. Be a third wheel with Aria and Sirius on their Derby Date Nights, a roller derby live stream YouTube channel filled with big hits and bigger laughs. Check them out on all the socials. Derby Date Night. Jam number 16 is going. Boo Boo with that star for Minnesota. Su Madre for Baja. Oh, but Su Madre picking up a quick penalty. So this is a power jam. Power jam. Jam de Poder. Brought to you by rollerderbycoaching.com. Boo Boo still looking to get out of the pack. No lead has been established yet. So this is an initial pass for Boo Boo, who is being completely contained by the Baja blockers going in to turn number 2. That's Wincabrona, along with other awesome people like Caroli Quinn. So well done, Baja, to kill that penalty with, Su Madre and Boo Boo getting penalties almost at the same time. So this is going to be a quick one. Boo Boo sitting for just a few seconds, and Su Madre will sit for that same amount of time. Get back on the track. Just about 30 seconds left here in jam number 16. It'll go the full 2 minutes. So a 3-jammer penalty jam here in jam number 16. And nobody has successfully completed an initial pass. Oh, and just as the Minnesota pivot was about to get out of that pack, was knocked to the inside. Phew! That was a doozy of a jam.
Five-second call as we have Breezes going up against Kemonita for Baja. Breezes working on the front of the pack, getting some offense from their Minnesota blocker. Running up the track as Kemonita is being held at the back of the pack. And we see Breezes with lead for Minnesota. Coming around quickly to get a scoring pass. Baja ready to receive Breezes, leading them into their tripod at the front of the pack. Just as the star is passed over to their pivot for Baja, Guy, now the jammer for Baja, coming around quickly. But just as Breezes gets out of the pack, 4 points made for Minnesota, bringing them up to 101 to Baja's 38.
Based in Mesa, Arizona, Andrew Hawks is a member of realtor associations throughout Arizona. If you need a home or a cabin, Andrew has you covered in the desert and the mountains. ExpertAZ.com.
And off we go. We have Skatey Gaga out through the outside lane. Sandrine being recycled to the back, but running up quick, trying to find some room on the outside lane as well. One more skater to get past and spins out on their initial. We do see Winky Brona going to the penalty box just as Sandrine almost hits the pack, forcing the call off. 1 point brought up for Minnesota, bringing the score to 102, keeping Baja at 38.
Roller Rag, a community-sourced roller skating magazine. Check it out and subscribe at rollerrag.com. You can also find them on the socials at Roller Rag Mag. Timeout brought to you by Chrissy Crash. Crash Course presents Derby in Paradise, a 7-day roller derby retreat to recharge your body, reignite your game, and connect with new roller derby friends. Find out more at chrissycrash.com.
And that's the end of that team timeout. 5-second call on the track. Looks like Baja is taking the top of the pack here, but Ginger Snap pushes the pack out of play, and out with lead is Ginger Snap from Minnesota. Multiplayer being called on number 919 from Minnesota. That is Buck Hustle heading to the penalty box, the Night Owl penalty box. Ginger Snap out with 4 points in the air, coming around for a second scoring pass, but followed closely by Guy, who is now joined by their teammate Winky Brona back from the penalty box. Ginger Snap hits the pack with some speed, gets a little bit of a spill, and makes points before the jam is called. That is 7 points in the air for Minnesota, bringing up their score to 110, keeping Baja at 38 with less than 3 minutes left in this first half of the first game on Saturday here in Mesa, Arizona.
Jewelry and unique gifts handcrafted with rust-resistant stainless steel bearings and genuine gemstones. League discounts are available. Visit DerbyGirlDesigns.com. Hey, you can save 15% with coupon code Monsoon Madness.
We see Su Madre on the track going up against Fanny Smack for Minnesota. Fanny Smack has 2 blockers to contend with. Pushing up, the pack has 2 blockers quickly following closely behind, and now a no pack called, letting Fanny Smack out. And Su Madre passing the start over to their compañera. That is number 16, Carolee Quinn. Oh, but that was not a complete star pass, so it has to be returned to their bestie, who was just sent to the Night Owl penalty box. And that ends up sending Carolee Quinn to the Night Owl penalty box as well. So we only have 2 blockers for Baja on the track. Fanny Smack out with 4 points in the air, coming around for another scoring pass. This will be their 3rd scoring pass. And out, we do see the return of number 62, that is Vela Morena, to join their pack. But the jam ends, leaving, I believe that's the jammer for Baja, standing in the Night Owl penalty box along with their pivot, Carolee Quinn. So this is a power start for Minnesota in this next jam, and a pack advantage. Minnesota now at 122 for Baja's 38. 1 minute left. And off we go. We have Breezes running up the pack, splitting them up. Baja now returning to run some offense for Su Madre, who is back from that Night Owl penalty box. A lot of whistles. It looks like maybe a high block being assessed to Sweaty. Su Madre returning to the Night Owl penalty box, continuing this power jam for Minnesota. Breeze is coming around for a second scoring pass. But Baja trying to run some quick offense and gets Breezes out on the outside lane, leading them into their defense, but quickly finds some room on the inside lane, meeting up with one last Baja player before getting out with 4 points. We do see the return of Sweaty to the track with their teammate Breezes before they turn to their bench and they ask for a call-off. Will that be halftime? That is halftime, folks. 8 points in the air for Minnesota, 130 for them now.
They call it a sport, but we know better. It's a symphony of dedication, grit, and heart. Tuned to one another in a composition of chaos on a stage built for progress. Athlete-driven innovation from the first whistle to the final score. Every hit, every fall, every win, every loss, every team, every season, every body. We've got you covered.
Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music license. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
They call it a sport, but we know better. It's a symphony of dedication, grit, and heart. Tuned to one another in a composition of chaos on a stage built for progress. Athlete-driven innovation from the first whistle to the final score. Every hit, every fall, every win, every loss, every team, every season, every body. We've got you covered.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music license. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
They call it a sport, but we know better. It's a symphony of dedication, grit, and heart. Tuned to one another in a composition of chaos on a stage built for progress. Athlete-driven innovation from the first whistle to the final score. Every hit, every fall, every win, every loss, every team, every season, everybody. We've got you covered.
Artlist.io. Music license. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
They call it a sport, but we know better. It's a symphony of dedication, grit, and heart. Tuned to one another in a composition of chaos on a stage built for progress. Athlete-driven innovation from the first whistle to the final score. Every hit, every fall, every win, every loss, every team, every season, everybody. We've got you covered.
Music licensing reimagined.
And we're back to the second half of the first game of the Saturday games at Monsoon Madness here in Mesa, Arizona, hosted by Arizona Roller Derby. I am Vampira, also joined by Bonita, who will be helping out with sponsor reads and stats. So far, we have had a pretty widespread between Minnesota and Baja be today. We are at 130 for Minnesota and 38 for Baja. Si están viendo la transmisión, estamos aquí en Mesa, Arizona, alojado por Arizona Roller Derby, aquí en Monsoon Madness. El primer juego del día entre Minnesota B y Baja B. Estamos regresando con 130 para Minnesota y 38 para Baja. Miramos aquí entre los dos equipos, los penales están más o menos iguales. Minnesota se queda con 17 penales y Baja con 18, so más o menos iguales en penales. Nadie en riesgo de salir del juego por esos penales. A lo mejor número 18 con 4 penales, esa va a ser Bubu para Minnesota. Y número 4, su madre de Baja. Pero es la segunda etapa de este juego. Vamos a esperar más intención para mantener esos penales bajo, para que Baja entonces regresa a hacer puntos contra Minnesota, porque ahora nomás tienen media hora para hacer por lo menos más puntos y llegar a 100. Estamos a 38, pero ya vimos el día anterior que la segunda etapa es cuando los jugadores tienen tiempo de hablar con sus coaches y regresar con más intención y más fuego para jugar. Y pues vemos aquí que Baja está listos en la pista platicando con Minnesota. Mucho ánimo. Sí vemos a su madre en la cancha de penal y vamos a empezar con un power start para Minnesota. Ya vamos a empezar aquí muy pronto. Los oficiales están entre medio de la pista platicando. Así que vamos a regresar aquí en unos minutos para volver al juego. Right now we have seen kind of a pretty even spread of penalties between the two teams. Minnesota sitting at 17 penalties and Baja at 18. Nobody really at risk of fouling out. Maybe number 18, Boo from Minnesota, who has 4 forearm penalties, and Su Madre for Baja, which they have 3 cut tracks and 1, I believe that's a high block call. But again, everybody's pretty spread out on penalties. Very few players without penalties between the two teams. It looks like the officials have finished their conversation, and we are getting ready to start the first jam of the second half. Again, this is a power start between Minnesota and Baja. Minnesota getting ready to sit on top of Baja's defense as we see Skady Gaga taking the inside lane and out with lead. Su Madre now released from the Night Owl penalty box and hit to the outside lane. recycled back just as we see the return of Skady Gaga for a scoring pass here, but met with Guy, and now has one more player to contend with, who is doing a great job at containing them, but has to let them go and is out with 4 points in the air. Skady Gaga coming around for a second scoring pass. Su Madre is being held back by number 924, who has their number. That's Speed Rita from Minnesota. Baja recycling back. Skady Gaga returning them back to a tripod, but breaks through the seam pretty quickly. Su Madre now taking over blocker duties for Baja here, as we see number 9-3, that is Sandrine, taking over jammer duties here for Baja. Skady Gaga still being contained. Bit of a pile up here on the second turn, or the second straightaway. Skady Gaga on the ground with a Baja player doing the downward dog over them, basically, forcing the call off. And that is the end of that jam with 8 points picked up by Minnesota, bringing up the score to 138. Baja kept at 38, so this is a 100-point lead for Minnesota at the second half. This is a clear box, so everybody in full one second, look at that. That is Breezes pushing through the pack. They only have, oh, never mind. Direction call being called on number 5-7 Disco Mel, sent to the Night Owl penalty box, which causes a little bit of confusion, allowing Breezes out with lead. Kemonita still working on trying the inside lane and then outside lane to get out, but push the inside and recycled back. Oh, keeps their skates in and is out. That skater being tripped up a bit, so out on their initial. A little bit of a skate malfunction, I believe. Jam is called off. We have 8 points in the air for Minnesota, bringing up the score to 146, Baja 38. Five-second call. Everybody getting right on top of that razor cake jammer line. Off we go with Ginger Snap on the line against Spicy Icy, both spicily running through the pack. Ginger Snap being called on a penalty, a high block call being sent to the Night Owl penalty box, allowing Spicy Icy out with lead for Baja. This is a power jam for Baja, so they have to capitalize on running some offense here for their teammate. Spicy Icy coming around with speed at the apex, but is met with a solid tripod from Minnesota. Minnesota being split up a bit by Baja. Baja pushing up their jammer up the pack, trying to give them some speed to push through that tripod, but the tripod holding fast. So a nice sweep on the inside, trying to get Spicy Icy through, but it's a little hard to push these players out of play, and that gives time for Ginger Snap to return back from the Night Owl penalty box with speed, and is recycled out before the jam is called. That is 4 points in the air for Baja. We bring up that score to 42, keeping Minnesota at 146, breaking that scoreless streak that they've had for a while, which is good momentum for Baja. Five-second call. Everybody taking the middle of the track. Baja at the top. A nice spread out tripod trying to contain Boo Boo, who is going up against Sandrine. Sandrine skating through that defense, just splitting up Minnesota a bit, and has one more blocker to contend with before spinning out and is assessed lead. And this is a power jam for Baja. We see Boo Boo in the box with a cut track in the Night Owl penalty box. Sandrine coming around for a scoring pass. Baja containing a goat to the back of the pack, allowing Sandrine to push the pack forward out of play and out with 4 points in the air. We do see Boo Boo standing in the Night Owl penalty box about to be released. So Sandrine has a few seconds before they return. Coming around, but is met with a tripod. Baja now sitting down in their own tripod in the back of the pack to receive Boo Boo. Sandrine is just being pushed back and held fast by the Minnesota defense. All 4 of them now running some defense before we see the pivot from Minnesota running some quick but Baja containing Boo Boo and pushing them outside, running them back, just recycling them. Sandrine's still not out, but just as I say that, they've skipped through the outside lane and out with 4 points. Seeing their bench telling them to go slowly, contain. That star is passed over to Marty McFly. Marty coming around quickly and is quickly running through that Baja pack. Just as we see Sandrine sent to the Night Owl penalty box for a cut track, which is a common penalty for the jammers. You know, you never know when a toe stop just slightly gets off track. You don't see it, you don't feel it, but the officials do. All right, so that jam is done with, let's see, give it a second to update. That is 8 points picked up by Sandrine and 4 points by Minnesota. This is a 150 score for Minnesota, 50 for Baja, still a 100-point spread. And it is a power start for Minnesota, as we do see Sandrine still sitting in the Night Owl penalty box and Winky Brona with them. So this is a power start and a pack advantage, allowing Fanny Smack through with lead for Minnesota. Minnesota just splitting up Baja. Fanny Smack finding some room on the outside lane and straight through the center. 4 points in the air for Minnesota as we see the return of Sandrine to the track from the penalty box. Como miran aquí en la pista, regresó Sandrine con mucho esfuerzo. Estamos viendo Fanny Smack. Otra vez sale con 4 puntos para Minnesota. Baja ahora está regresando la ofensiva para Sandrine. Sandrine fuera en su inicial. Fanny Smack ahora regresando con su esfuerzo. 3 puntos en el aire para Fanny Smack. 11 puntos total. Ahora estamos a 161 para Minnesota, 52 para Baja. Nos queda 21 minutos. Y la canja de penal completamente sola. En la pista tenemos su madre contra Breezes de Minnesota. Breezes está tomando Baja conteniendo a Breezes. Un poco de confusión. Parece que la pivota Carol y Quinn la regresan a la cancha de penal. Así que va a ser todo el esfuerzo de su madre para salir. Pero está contenida atrás de del pack y reciclada. Baja. Está reciclando a Breezes. Breezes tomando a todas y las bajas no pudieron contener a Breezes. Breezes sale con 4 puntos. Su madre nomás con una ya sale en su inicial. Vemos el regreso de Carol y Quinn de la cancha, llamando a su jammer a que la sigue, pero antes de que pueda hacer ofensiva, Breezes llama al jam con 6 puntos para Minnesota. Ahora estamos a 167, Baja todavía a 52. 20 minutos nos quedan en esta segunda etapa del juego. Five-second call. This is a bit of a pack advantage for Baja, but a quick pack advantage only, as we do see Sweaty standing in the Night Owl penalty box about to return with their blocker teammates. Kimonita being recycled to the back of the pack as Ginger Snap pushes the pack forward and splits them up and is out with lead. Kimonita being held at the back passes the star over to their pivot. That is number 423. 423 is Oogie Boogie for Baja. Oogie Boogie recycling back Ginger Snap. Trying to make them eat the baby, but Ginger Snap just stands there. They don't have to go all the way back if they don't want to. They can be patient. Oogie Boogie forced to run up. Ginger Snap picking up speed and going through the outside lane and out. 4 points in the air. Oogie Boogie recycled by Sweaty, who had returned from the penalty box. All right, now the Night Owl penalty box fully cleared out of the blockers formerly in the penalty box. Full Minnesota pack just containing Oogie Boogie. As Ginger Snap comes around for another scoring pass, Baja meeting up with them at the front of the pack, containing Ginger Snap here in a tripod. Sweaty recycling back Oogie Boogie. Oogie Boogie trying that seam, and we do see Baja trying to go in for some but having to quickly return to defense as Ginger Snap comes around again for a scoring pass and is through on the inside lane. Their teammate quickly getting out of their way. Oogie Boogie looking to their bench for some guidance and tries to run some offense on Ginger Snap, but they duck out of it and duck out of the defense for Baja with another scoring pass. This is probably the highest scoring jam for Minnesota so far. Just as the jam concludes.
Fuel up with more than just coffee at Brick Road Coffee in Tempe and Empower Coffee Roasters in Mesa. It's about bold brews and community connections. Their mission, creating a safe haven where you don't have to edit who you are. Brick Road and Empower, 2 spots, 1 mission, serving up coffee, connection, and a community that's unapologetically inclusive, period.
All right, so off to the track, we have Sandrine going up against Fanny Smack. Fanny Smack recycled to the back of the pack and comes up with some speed, having to go up against number 16 for Baja. That was Scotty Lee Quinn. Baja recycling to the inside lane all the way to the back. Do you see both pivots for each team going to the penalty box? And out with lead is Fanny Smack for Minnesota. Sandrine still working on getting out on their initial. Only has a couple blockers. Nope. Full tripod for Minnesota containing Sandrine. Baja, though, doing a good job at recycling back Fanny Smack. But Fanny Smack just takes some time to run all the way from the back and with speed goes through the inside and out through the center. Just as Sandrine gets out on their initial, forcing the call off. How many points shakes out on that one? I believe that's 4 points picked up by Minnesota, bringing up the score to 191. Baja still at 52.
You can expect zealous and effective advocacy on your behalf at MA Monsoon Law. Our mission is to provide exceptional legal representation in the areas of adoption, estate planning, corporate law, and criminal defense. MAMonsoonlaw.com.
Breezes going up against Spicy Icy. Breezes skipping through the inside lane and out with lead. This was a star pass now to Guy. Guy recycled to the back of the pack after being hit to the outside lane. Breezes running up the tripod, split up and out with 4 points in the air for Minnesota. Guy now looking to their offense, running a sweep through the inside, but a bit of a confusion here at the first turn, but now Guy pushing the tripod forward just as Breezes pushes through their own tripod and out with 4 points in the air. Guy trying to follow their offense, but everybody having to now return back to defense. Both jammers hit to the outside. And Breezes jumping through the apex out with 4 points in the air. Guy trying to take the inside lane, but is hit to the inside. Has to return, but is forcing that tripod a bit forward. Now the packs are now nice and tight against each other, which causes a bit of a spill here. This is a power jam now. Breeze is being sent to the Night Owl penalty box for a cut track. This is a good opportunity for Baja to run some offense for Guy. Guy trying to follow their offense, but that tripod is just recycling around the offense and keeping Guy contained and recycled. Number 22 running the recycle there. I believe that's number 23. I don't see them. Is it 23? Battle Arena? Who's that? Yeah. Yeah. That's Battle Arena. All right, so at the end of that little spill, jumping that straightaway, 15 points in the air for Minnesota, bringing them to 206. Baja at 52, so second century mark. Take a drink of your beverage and let's watch this matchup between Skady Gaga and Sandrine. Skady Gaga pushing the pack forward. Tripod trying to hold him back. Skady Gaga dances around and through the center, assessed lead. Sandrine passes the star over to their pivot. That's number 16, Carly Quinn. Spinning around, trying to get through on the outside, but pushed to the outside and recycled back by number 808, Marty McFly. Skady Gaga pushing the pack forward and has all 4 Baja blockers to contend with, who throw them to the inside, but comes in with some speed and some offensive assistance from their Minnesota blocker, allowing them through with 4 points in the air. Carly Quinn maintaining their skates in, but is off balance and thrown to the outside of the track and recycled back. Minnesota doing a good job of containing the Baja blocker before Carly Quinn skips through the inside lane out on their initial, forcing the call off. We do see 4 points in the air for Minnesota, bringing up the score to 210, and Baja still held scoreless, keeping them at 52 with 12 minutes left in the second half. This is a team timeout brought to you by Baja. We would also like to thank our team sponsor for this timeout, Sisu. This event is sponsored by Sisu Mouthguards, trusted by roller derby athletes for comfort, protection, and custom fit. Play hard, stay protected with Sisu. We would also like to thank Keef Brands, born in Boulder, Colorado in 2010. Keef Brands is a leader in the cannabis beverage space with a suite of products that offer a new generation of consumers an alternative to alcohol and an innovative way to celebrate and have fun and enjoy life. Thank you, Keef Brands.
Timeout's brought to you by Chrissy Crash and Crash Course. Crash Course helps roller derby athletes build strength, track confidence, and winning habits to become MVPs on and off the track. Want to make 2-minute jams feel easy? Visit ChrissyCrash.com. And while you're there, check out the free trial of the Roller Derby Training Club Fitness app for just $1. Life is a contact sport. Win.
Five-second call. Everybody taking a nice position here at the Razor Cake Jammer line, but Ginger Snap out on the outside lane with little resistance. We see Su Madre trying to take the inside lane, but all the blockers taking that inside lane to stuff it. Ginger Snap dipping through the outside lane, only has 2 blockers to contend with and pushes through with 4 points in the air. Su Madre now with the star in hand, looking for their pivot, but pushes through, having only number 11 to contend with. Laurel Mighty both take a bit of a spill. Almost was out on their initial, but recycled back into the pack just as Ginger Snap is out on their second scoring pass, coming around for a third. They have plenty of time to come around for that next scoring pass here. Guy now with the star in hand, trying to push their way through with their offense, working it out for them. Guy following closely behind Ginger Snap, forcing that call off. Points picked up by Ginger Snap, bringing up the score to 222. If that's your angel number, you can check out and see what life is trying to tell you. Keeping Baja at 52, we have 10.5 minutes left in this game. 5-second call, off to the races. This is a matchup between Fanny Smack and Spicy Icy. Si miramos aquí está Spicy Icy contra Fanny Smack. Baja reciclando a Fanny Smack. Si vemos a número 919, la blocker de Minnesota, en la cancha de penal. Spicy Icy empujando el tripoide hasta que llaman no pack, pero sí conteniéndola. Le faltan 2 jugadores, ahora una. Spicy Icy, nomás le falta una para salir con lead para Baja. Fanny Smack ahora saliendo del pack en su inicial. Spicy Icy regresando a la pared para salir, pero tirada al piso, llama al jam antes de que regresa Fanny Smack a hacer puntos. ¿Cuántos puntos hizo Spicy Icy? Hizo 2 puntos para Baja, subiendo los puntos a 54 para Baja, manteniendo a Minnesota a 222. Los oficiales llamando un timeout y platicando entre medio de la pista. And during this official timeout, we'd like to thank RollerCon 2026. If you love roller skating, you know that magic happens when roller derby, park, and roller skaters of all disciplines get together. Join us July 8th through 12th, 2026 at Expo Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. You can enter to win a RollerCon MVP pass for just $5 for our Monsoon Madness raffle. Go to the merch table or online to see if you'll win an MVP pass. And that official timeout is over. We have Kimonita for Baja going up against Breezes. Breezes trying to take that inside lane and pushing through, but is contained by Guy and pushed to the inside by one of the Baja blockers. Oogie Boogie trying to be the last line of defense before Breezes is out, but Kimonita is out as well on their initial, following Breezes closely behind. Breezes trying to get their players to run forward and speed up the pack. Both jammers about to hit the pack, and that was a beautiful jump by Breezes. Breezes being told to run the jam. Kimonita taken to the inside lane. Kimonito did have lead, so that was my bad. Kimonita had lead and was the one who had to run it, but before Breezes could come around for a second scoring pass, Baja did pick up 1 point. Breezes with 4, so it's 226 for Minnesota, 55 for Baja. Five-second call. Both packs taking the middle of the track before they run back to the Razor Cake Jammer line. Ginger Snap going up against Sandrine. Everybody just spinning around trying to contain each jammer. Ginger Snap. Ooh, Ginger Snap being called on a back block and is being sent to the Night Owl penalty box. This is a power jam for Sandrine, but Sandrine had taken off the star, so this is a full 2-minute jam and is out on their initial coming around.
Power Jam brought to you by Roller Derby BajaCoaching.com. Be more badass on the track. Online roller derby clinics to get you to your next level. Brought to you by Snot Rocket Science.
Sweaty being contained in the back of the pack by Baja as a goat. Disco Mel returning with their team to contain Sweaty to see if they can help Sandrine a bit, push the pack forward, but is recycled to the outside and contained by Minnesota. A bit of a spill in the second straightaway. Ginger Snap back from the Night Owl penalty box, coming up with some speed to get Baja split up with the assistance of Sweaty Mel. Sweaty running back up with Minnesota's defense to contain Sandrine as they successfully killed that penalty for Ginger Snap. Ginger Snap looking for their offense, but Baja following closely, trying to contain Ginger Snap. Ginger Snap still not out, but Sandrine also not having any success in getting out as they are recycled to the back of the pack. Bit of a switch up as Ginger Snap is out. This is their initial, so they're coming around for a scoring pass. Again, this is a full 2-minute jam for both teams. Jammer is now Carolee Quinn, who spins out of the pack and is knocked to the inside by Ginger Snap. Oh boy. The third base for Minnesota calling for their team to run up to try to contain Carolee Quinn, who was still on the inside lane trying to get the star on, but that was the end of that jam. I don't think they heard them. So at the end of that, we have 4 points apiece for Baja and Minnesota, bringing up the score to 230 and Baja 59. There's less than 6 minutes left, and a timeout actually turning into an official review called by Baja, I believe. No, called by Minnesota. Official review.
Crash Course presents Derby in Paradise, a 7-day roller derby retreat to recharge your body, reignite your game, and connect with new roller derby friends. Find out more at ChrissyCrash.com.
We are seeing that the official review is a challenge for the back block being called on the Minnesota Jammer. So we'll see the results of that official review and see if Minnesota retains their official review. We'll be back on that later. All right, at the end of that official review, the call will stand. Minnesota loses their official review. Never hurts to try. Al final de esa al final de eso fue que ese penal se retiene. Minnesota no le quita el penal a Ginger Snap en ese último juego. Ahora vemos Fanny Smack contra su madre. Fanny Smack empujando el tripoide hasta que tiene que forzar todos los blockers de dejar a Fanny Smack salir. Fanny Smack tiene el lead. Su madre todavía está detrás de la pared, pero pasa la estrella a Guy. Ahora Guy está corriendo, tratando de alcanzar la pared antes de que Fanny Smack ya con sus puntos en el aire, 3 puntos, llama al jam. Estamos a 233 para Minnesota y 59 para Baja. Nos queda menos de 5 minutos en esta segunda etapa de este juego. Un partidazo todavía. 5 segundos en la pista. Vemos a Spicy Icy contra Breezes. La pared conteniendo a Spicy Icy atrás de la defensa. Breezes ahora reciclada por Disco Mel. Carolee Quinn conteniendo a Breezes. Por adentro corre Breezes, pero un cut track llamada a Breezes. Esto va a ser un power jam para Spicy Icy, que sale con lead para Baja. El perfecto momento para que Baja corre la ofensiva para su jammer, corriendo por adentro y ahora por el centro. El tripoide ahora conteniendo a Spicy Icy. Baja intentando de empujar una de las bloqueadoras fuera para que pueda empujar fuera de juego a Minnesota, pero ya después de tanto esfuerzo, Spicy Icy llama el jam para contener a Breezes adentro de la canja de penal, para que empieza Baja con un power start. 3 puntos en el aire para Spicy Icy. Ahora estamos a 62 para Baja, 233 para Minnesota. 5-second call. This is a power start for Baja with probably less than a few seconds, as Breezes now returns from the Night Owl penalty box. So full defense back again to get Breezes contained. So Kemonita can try to get through, but Kemonita and Breezes both just stuffed into the inside lane. Everybody just kind of bunched up at the Arizona Goat Yoga pivot line. But Breezes takes the outside lane, the path of least resistance to get lead. Kemonita does pass the star over to Guy. Guy running up the track, trying to catch up to Breezes. Breezes dips on the outside and calls the jam just as By Fury returns from the Night Owl penalty box, keeping a blocker from Baja in the Night Owl penalty box. So this will be a pack advantage in this next jam for Minnesota. 4 points, bringing up the score to 237. Baja still at 62. Less than 2 minutes left in the second half. Probably one or two good jams left. 5 segundos en la pista. Tenemos a Sandrine contra Skady Gaga. Skady Gaga reciclada por atrás y Sandrine por adentro. Todavía estamos entre medio de la pista. Sandrine corriendo. Le falta 2. Una fuera, pero la saca Marty McFly y se saca ella misma. Pero Sandrine fuera con lead para Baja. Skady Gaga todavía contenida detrás de la pared. La pared conteniendo a Skady Gaga, reciclándola para atrás. Sandrine por afuera con 4 puntos en el aire. Baja conteniendo a Skady Gaga en el tripoide. Así que Minnesota está tratando de correr la ofensiva. Sandrine se cae un poco, pero sus compañeros le dicen, ándale, rápidamente se sube entre medio de esa pared. Minnesota conteniéndola un poco, pero Sandrine empujando la última bloqueadora y fuera con 4 puntos para Baja. Ahora Marty McFly con la estrella en la mano y ahora en el casco, corriendo detrás de Sandrine. Sandrine nomás diciéndole a sus compañeras que corren y perfectamente la ofensiva le da oportunidad a Sandrine de correr por adentro y vemos que llamó el jam, pero sí se sacó un punto Marty McFly para Minnesota y 12 puntos para Sandrine. Ahora estamos a 238 y baja a 74. Menos de 20 segundos en el último jam de este juego. Vamos a ver si vamos a tener uno más. ¿Será uno más? Creo que no. Creo que no llamaron el juego, llamaron el timeout a tiempo. Así que vamos a ver. Esperan un momento, no sé. Creo que fue el final de ese juego. No llamaron el timeout a tiempo, así que quedamos a 238 para Minnesota y 74 para Baja. Eso fue el final para este juego, el primer juego del día. At the end of that jam, we have 238 for Minnesota B and Baja B at 74. That is the final score. Timeout was not called in time. What a game for the start of this day here at Monsoon Madness. We still have plenty of matchups left. Stay tuned as we come